Hello, I'm Debbie Bell Hosking for FinextraTV, and I'm joined by John Filby of Outseer, and we're going to be talking about AI. Not just blanket AI, but specialization and what that means. But first of all, welcome to our studio, John.
Thanks, Debbie. Great to be here with you.
Before we get into specialization, particularly with AI, can we just take a few steps back and learn a bit more about your roots in RSA and Outseer as a cybersecurity organization?
Yeah, sure. So, super proud of our RSA heritage, great pedigree and innovation in the broader cybersecurity space. About 5 years ago, the entire RSA group was carved out of Dell and broken out into about 5 different operating businesses, Outseer being one of those. Our predecessor was actually RSA Fraud, Risk, and Intelligence. The story of RSA has always been one about ensuring trust in digital interactions and in digital age. For Outseer specifically, it's been about ensuring trust in digital commerce. And so when we think about specialization, it's really specialization that gives us the license and the right to be at the table with our customers, which are financial institutions. And, like any enterprise, making decisions about technology choices and whether to externalize or internalize, financial institutions often make those choices on the basis of expertise. Where do they need help in expertise? Where do they need deeper specialization to come to the table? The fraud space is a decidedly expert space and becoming even more expert. That's the space we live in, is fraud solutioning. So there we've been super specialists. We're deep experts in fraud solutions and all of the underlying data science and technologies. And yeah, it's really that level of specialization that's left us in a place to be talking to our customers about the externalization of fraud solutions, and in this case, reliance on us at Outseer.
There's another word you mentioned there earlier, because we pinned down specialization. We've highlighted that. Yeah. But there was another word that speaks volumes, and that is becoming expert. So can we reel back in that word AI? And can you please elaborate for us in terms of where you sit dealing with AI, this big cloud cover, everybody wants to get on board with AI. Yeah. How do you find the value? How do you become an expert?
Yeah. So there's different kinds of AI. We'll talk about those because it is used as an all-encompassing term and it's not entirely clear what people mean by it. I think the way to think about the solutions we provide is they're data science solutions, right? So the data science, within that we've got models that are running, it's really the acumen or the intelligence behind our solutions. And those models are fed by data signals. And so that's what really fuel the models. And it's incredibly complicated math getting run. So that data science is enabled to work at speed and at scale through technology. So our technology just enables that data science, enables that math to work at scale. When it comes to artificial intelligence, we've had predictive artificial intelligence, predictive AI at the core of our data science for a couple of decades. And then as time has gone on, especially in the last few years, with the advent of generative AI and now agentic AI, we've had to progress our specialization. And today, all 3 types of AI, predictive, generative, and agentic, are baked into our platform, baked into our solutions.
How do you find the value of AI in terms of choosing what type of AI you're going to use? And it's interesting because when I speak to other organizations, they talk about looking for the problem they have to solve and then finding the right AI to do that job rather than just scrambling and trying to reach out for AI. But you said something earlier off camera which really struck me, is you're actually looking for your clients' problems. And you enjoy solving client problems. How has that enabled you to become more of a specialist and expert in the AI that you choose to use?
Yeah, it's thanks for picking up on that. When it comes to innovation, it's important to us that, and I think it's been the story of RSA, but for us at Outseer, it's important that innovation happen with customers at our side. If we're solving an important industry problem, a great litmus test for that is that we've got customers who are interested in collaborating with us in solving that problem. So as we thought about things like predictive AI, and we can continue to hone that and make it more effective at doing anomaly detection, and that's at the core of what we do, looking for patterns, whether they're genuine user patterns or whether they're nefarious patterns. But as time has gone on, for example, in the last 5 years, we've seen a rapid increase in scams. So scams are now $1 trillion annual problem around the world. That's bigger than the GDP of most countries. And scams are a form of authorized fraud. So we think about the long history of fraud has largely been grounded in unauthorized fraud, your account of value being taken over by somebody else, a fraudster. But scams are different. It's a genuine customer executing the transaction, but what they're unaware of is that it's not a genuine transaction. And that takes a different type of data signal in order to identify that, and it takes a different type of interaction with a customer, because those customers are being met by the fraudsters on what we call the emotional attack surface. And to meet customers there where the fraudsters have met them and to interdict in that transaction takes a different type of AI.
Let's pick up on that word scams. How do you see them evolving in the future? And do you see us having to worry about something completely else? What will we be calling it?
Yeah, good question. Age-old question. What's next in fraud? And today, scams are already, and this is one of the changes, they're already being executed by organized crime at an industrial scale, and so it's hard to know what's left in the scams game with a crystal ball. But what's for sure is that there will be new fraud threats and vectors that present themselves. And so what do we do about that as an industry? And the answer has always been, and I believe will continue to be, that you have to employ a strategy of defense in depth. You've got to get as many layers of defense out in front of the fraudsters, between the fraudsters and your customers as possible. And the best way to do that, the best way to implement a defense in depth strategy is through platformization. Having a data science and technology platform that makes it easy to ingest new data signals and ingesting those at a model level, at a data science level. Things like behavioral biometrics, that you've got the ability to incorporate new authenticators, new ways to authenticate customers, including passkeys and passwordless, and having the flexibility in that platform to adapt to whatever may come, because we're not going to be able to predict it all. But we've got to be able to adapt quickly and respond to what's happening out there on the threat landscape. So where it all takes us, nobody knows for sure, but the best approach for sure is executing on a defense in depth strategy through platformization.
Now, before we get on to lessons learned within your own transformation, can I just ask you, just from your standing point, what are the changes you have seen? You've mentioned changes in fraud, but are there other changes you've seen in the last 5 years?
Yes, it's really been a perfect storm, and it's been the confluence of just the explosion of digital commerce, which we saw through COVID. It's been massive adoption of social media, which has led to the exposure of a ton of personal information. And then also the proliferation of various AI technologies, especially Gen AI and agentic AI. And the unfortunate part about that confluence is in the hands of fraudsters, it's created an incredible window of opportunity for them to commit fraud. So that's something that when we think about what's required, there's so many sources and types of fraud now that our view is you need what we call an all-cause fraud prevention platform in place to address the kinds of problems that we're seeing coming out of especially the last 5 years.
And then finally, as we bring our interview to a close, I mean, we could talk forever on this. What are the lessons learned from your standpoint in this space? And also, how have you found purpose within this space?
Yeah, it's thanks for putting the question that way. I would say there's two things that we've learned, and I think they're probably good lessons for any company that's looking at, hey, how do we build an enduring business that remains relevant to the marketplace or marketplaces in which we operate? And the first thing is keeping our customers at the center of what we do. We touched on that earlier in the category of innovation, but like as we like to say it, we haven't fallen in love with our product set. We've fallen in love with solving our customers' problems, and keeping our customers at the center of what they do, their use cases, their problems, and how we can solve those with all of our specialization and expertise in data science and technology. That's a great North Star. It's a great and it's an enduring North Star. And the second thing is the purpose piece. We operate in a space where the human toll of fraud is incredible. So it's not just the victim of fraud, the initial victim of fraud. It's not just the bank's fraud losses, damage to financial institutions' reputations. Those are all incredibly important and serious things. But it's also the human toll that organized crime takes when it employs those ill-gotten gains from fraud and puts them to work in things like human trafficking. So on many levels, the toll of fraud's incredible. And so our purpose is making the world a safer place, working with our financial institutions to make the world a safer place. That's a high calling. And for our employees, it gives them something bigger than themselves to work for, something bigger than the four corners of our business. And I think it fuels our best work. And the stakes, the stakes are super high. And so it demands our best work.
That's a big driver in the global world we are in. John, thank you so much. Great discussion. As I say, I wish we could talk more. But for this moment, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Debbie. Thank you.